everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy, your insider's guide to all things franchising in the local area. I'm Blake Martin, local small business franchise owner and your Heartland Franchise Guy. This is the place for advocacy, resources, and education on all things franchising in the local area, and it's a great place for any entrepreneur to stop by if they're just looking to learn more about the field. So, speaking of any entrepreneur, our guest today is Chad Brown, who is the founder and owner of Mancon Tax Services, which is a service relevant to any business owner, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
All right. So, I really want to talk about the topic of the day, which is work opportunity tax credits. But I'm going to start it by grabbing everybody's attention. How much, on average, do business owners potentially leave on the table by not knowing about what they can get in tax credits through services like yours with work opportunity tax credits?
Sure. Well, with work opportunity tax credit, I mean, the max credit is between $2,400 and $9,000. And typically, depending on the business, it's demographics, it's industry specific to a certain extent, but roughly 10 to 15% of the folks that companies are hiring are qualifying. So if you can get up to a $2,400 tax credit, 10% of your employees you hire, you do the math. It doesn't take long for it to add up.
Right.
So it could be substantial.
And that can come at no cost to you as a business owner, which we'll get to. So now take a step back. What are work opportunity tax credits? What is this industry that you're in?
Sure. Well, work opportunity tax credit specifically was a program created back in the late 70s. And I'm not going to go too deep into the weeds, but it was called the Targeted Jobs Program. And over the years, Congress and legislation has changed it, removed it, added categories and stuff. But essentially what it is, it's a program designed to encourage employers, entrepreneurs, small, mid-sized, large companies to hire individuals that may face some barriers to employment. And they do that, the incentive is through this tax credit, work opportunity tax credit.
And they're really easy to find and act upon, right?
Well, right now, I mean, the unemployment is high, and individuals, there's a lot of folks unemployed. And I think that's going to turn around. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for folks looking for work, good folks that may have been facing some challenges. Maybe they're single moms, staying at home, so they're getting some sort of assistance, or maybe they're returning from the battlefield. They're veterans. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're facing some sort of disability, kind of getting reintroduced into society and the workforce, being in the service. So there's a lot of categories and a lot of folks out there that are eligible. Mm-hmm.
And so the idea is with Mancon services or any work opportunity tax credit service, right, the idea is that you're helping analyze whether or not there are qualifying employees that are already working for you or you're getting ready to hire that would, because you're hiring them, right, you are qualified potentially for a tax credit for each of those employees that would qualify.
That's correct. And just to make it clear, it is on new hires only.
Thank you.
So it's not on the individuals that you currently have on your workforce. That's a big clarification, and I have to explain that to everyone, but it is a kind of a go-forward
credit.
Can't
go retro. Yeah.
On certain occasions, the government has allowed that. There was a piece during COVID where we were allowed to go back and capture some just to give businesses more incentives.
Okay.
There and capture some of those credits. But yeah, it's on a go-forward basis. And you're exactly right. What we do is we provide a system and a resource for companies to have their new hires or new employees screened, whether it be a phone, online, through our process, and we determine if they're eligible, and if so, generate all the paperwork, get the electronic signatures, and everything pretty much goes to our team, okay, and we handle the processing with the State Department of Labor. It's a federal tax credit, okay, but it's administered by the State Department of Labor. In Nebraska, the Nebraska Workforce Development handles it. So we will act as a limited power of attorney and on behalf of the Work Opportunity Tax Credit Program for our clients with the state to get the employees certified.
very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of niches out there.
Yeah, right?
You know, and the scary thing, shouldn't say scary, the sad thing is a lot of the small businesses like you and I, the small entrepreneurs that, you know, a couple $1,000 means a lot more to us than it, you know, a couple $100,000 does to a ConAgra, to a Tyson Foods. So, but there's a lack of education out there around it.
And perhaps a lack of resources, meaning you can't just hire a whole team of people to do this for you. To that end, I created my own perfect segue, by the way.
Okay.
How do you get paid?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a couple of different packages, but the majority of our fee is based on success fee, essentially.
Okay.
If we work with a company and they generate tax credits, once we receive that certification, capture the wages from the employer and calculate that credit, we get a percentage of it.
So you only make money if you're saving that business money.
95% of the time,
I shouldn't say saving money, if you're finding them credits.
We're finding them credits, so it's a win-win, right? They don't pay until they have something in their pocket, well, or reduction of their tax liability, so to speak. We do have a small startup fee, depending on the size of the company, just to get the infrastructure and the system set up and all of that. But yeah, that's minuscule.
Gotcha. So it's a contingency-based fee structure. Yeah. And then do you end up implementing systems whereby you said it's mostly based upon new hires. Right. So people have to be thinking a little bit ahead and strategically planning their hiring in order to take advantage of this. Is that part of the counsel advising that you're providing to employers?
Yeah. In general, we can point folks in the direction of where to find these employees. You know, workforce development, work release programs, VA, those sorts of areas. Yeah. We don't directly consult and make those connections, but we guide folks there. Yeah. 100%.
So if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, you've already listed a number of them, but right off the top of your head, could you provide sort of a detailed list of the more common qualifying categories? You said VA and...
Yeah, there's unemployed veterans, there's disabled veterans, there's ex-felons, individuals that are receiving supplemental Social Security income, long-term unemployed individuals, long-term recipients of welfare, members of a family that receive welfare, voc rehab participants. You know, those that are on some sort of government program typically will qualify.
And qualify means that these are folks that if you hire them, there's a good chance that you may be able to earn a tax credit.
Right.
So for having hired them.
Yeah. So it's a couple of different phases. Phase one is to screen the new hire, right? And we determine if they are indeed eligible. If they are, then we file paperwork with the state and work with them to get the certification. Once the certification is received, we have to collect wages from the employer. And typically that's done on a quarterly basis. We have some clients that we just do it on an annual. We collect certifications for the year, get the wages at an annual basis, and then we calculate the credits. The base credit is 40% of the first $6,000 in wages, which is the $2,400.
Yeah.
And then the different categories, especially the vets categories, kind of the credits expanded a little bit.
I see. Yeah. So to your point, you can't earn the credit until they've been paid for a period of time.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. How do people get a hold of you, by the way? How do customers get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best thing to do is, you can search us out online, manconsolutions.com.
And that's MANCON as in Nancy.
Solutions with an S on both sides, .com. Or they can call me directly. My direct phone number is 402-214-9516.
Gotcha. Yeah. And our audience knows that we have a QR code on the bottom of the screen, so they can always contact us, and we'll get you directly in touch with Mancon. So
perfect.
What else should we know about work opportunity tax credits that people often miss?
About work opportunity, there's a lot of credits out there. There's training credits, work opportunity tax credit. There's the employee retention tax credit. There's a whole number of tax credits out there that are available. As you know, I also work in accounting and tax with a lot of small businesses in addition to providing the tax credit services. And what we find is everybody, it tends to be more reactive to something. And in this case with work opportunity tax credit, some of these training credits, you have to be forward-looking and proactive. What I mean by that is, you hire somebody, you have to screen them on or before they start work to qualify for work opportunity tax credit. If you're going to apply for a training program credits, you have to have a training process and system set up to get that. Many small businesses say, oh, I hate paying that much tax, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. In January, February, March, and April, right? But if they put some thought into and actually talk with someone about making sure we've got financial statements that make sense. Okay. Are we taxable? Should we take advantage of these programs? If so, how do we do it? And do it now and set that up as part of your business, just like anything else. Yeah. Set it up as part of your business and how you operate and do it, and you'll be able to take advantage of those. And not react at the end and say, God, another year I got to write the old uncle another check, right?
Oh, I love those days.
So there's just a whole lot of things out there businesses can do. And I'll be the first one to tell you, Blake, that work opportunity credit isn't for everybody. It's not for every business. Okay. It's worth looking at to see if it's, might work for your business.
And what does it cost you to have it taken a look at?
It costs nothing to have it looked at. And, like I said, we charge a kind of a small initial setup fee. Yeah. But believe me, we're not profitable on that setup fee. It costs us more to get it set up than we're collecting. I don't want to work with someone we can't help because nobody wins. Relationally, transactionally, financially, nobody wins if it's not a good fit for you.
I think that's a great attitude. Yeah. So how did you get into this?
Long story. My dad was in tax. He worked for a small company here. They're not in town anymore. They're in Chicago, ConAgra. But
yeah,
they're not here anymore.
They're kind of in town. They're in town if you're listening.
They were in 1983 when he was transferred up from Louisiana to work there, and he was familiar with the program. And then after he retired, an opportunity came available for us to acquire a company that had been doing work opportunity tax credit since 1984. And so we did that, and for a couple of years it was just kind of a investment, let it do its thing. But there's so much potential and opportunity to help businesses. Like I said, it's more of a proactive approach to managing your business versus a reactionary approach. And I just loved it, and it fits in with the accounting, the tax, the bookkeeping work that Kinsler Brown, another organization I'm associated with, does.
Yeah, tax prep services.
Yeah, and so it just kind of was a natural. So once I got into the tax side of the business, I said, this can't be silent anymore. We really got to do something with it. So.
So you mentioned that this program started in the 70s, right? The first work opportunity tax credits. Why? What was the logic behind starting this program? What was the benefit supposed to be?
The benefit was to help employers offset costs. Now, I wasn't around back in the... Well, I was around. I was around, but I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I was in 79 when it was part of the Targeted Jobs Program. But there was, I believe, a high level of unemployment, and they were trying to spur or incentivize businesses to hire folks that maybe were on the government subsidies or welfare or some program that costs the government money. So this is the way they do it. So you say, hey, you hire this individual, we'll give you a break on your taxes.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of how it started, and it's been around in several different shapes, sizes, and forms since then.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Obviously somebody thinks it's working because here we are in 2023. It's still going.
Yeah. No, it's a great program. We've saved companies a lot of money, but we really being a small business owner myself, it means a lot. Matter of fact, I just got a report this morning. A small business we signed up about a year ago. Mm-hmm. We issued them their tax credit report, $12,000 in tax credits. They hadn't been doing it before. We signed them up, small restaurant, and for what, taking 2 minutes, 3 minutes per new hire to see if they qualify? That's literally all it took.
Wow, that's impressive. So restaurants would be one. What are some examples of, if you can provide them, industry categories that tend to be really strong candidates
for
these kinds of tax credits?
Yeah, industries that are hiring individuals from, the targeted groups. Yeah. Generally, those single moms, maybe receiving some benefits, CNAs, home health. Yep. That's a real popular one. Restaurant industry, manufacturing. Food processing.
Labor businesses?
I'm sorry?
Labor businesses? So manual labor businesses?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So consistent theme I heard there was service-based employers.
A lot of them are service-based. I will tell you, we've worked with some bank financial organizations in the past, maybe that have a call center.
Okay.
So they're hiring individuals. So you can't just discount, based on what the industry is, what departments do they have. So it's something you have to analyze and look at.
Don't assume that you don't potentially have people or will have people that would help you qualify for these credits.
Yeah.
Make the call.
Right.
Make the call to Mancon. Wait, hey, put that on a billboard. Make the call to Mancon.
Yeah. There you go. I should hire you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's worth something. If you see it on the billboard, I know Blake's
I want a royalty on that.
Right?
I want a royalty on that.
We back a handful of years ago, we hired an individual, recently retired military, transitioning out into the I said the real world, the world that they weren't used to, right? And we brought them on board, and they're one of our best employees. Now, we were just a periodic stop for them. They were going to do some, bigger and better things based on their experience, but they wanted something to do and come out, and individual was a perfect employee, just consistent as heck, and generated a $9,600 tax credit for us.
Wow. So everybody wins.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's a great story. I mean, that kind of sums up what this is supposed to be all about.
Right. Yeah. And they're out there. Just got to look for them.
Chad, I appreciate you spending some time with us today. This was very eye-opening. And again, so if people want to get a hold of you, if employers, HR departments, I would imagine, do CPAs actually send people your way?
Yeah.
Yeah, CPAs and bookkeepers. Right. So if those folks want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way is via email, chad.brown@Mancon, MANCON, solutions with an S on both sides, .com, or just give me a call, 402-214-9516.
And if you didn't get all that because you're watching this and driving and being responsible or riding a bike or whatever, scan the QR code on the bottom of the screen. That'll give you our contact info, and we'll get you directly in touch with Chad and his team. I got one more question for you. It's the big one. So, Chad, given all of your experiences, and in 20-ish minutes, we couldn't possibly get through all of your experiences, but just the things that you've talked about thus far. My question for you is, what do you hope your 80-year-old self says about you?
Oh, wow. That's deep. So from a business perspective, that, everyone we came in contact with, we help, whether it be an individual we're doing their tax return or a small business we've worked with. We want everybody to be able to say that we left them better than they were before we got there. And I'd say the same with my family, just somebody that wasn't afraid to make mistakes, but looked at them as lessons and provided them, maybe a little bit of a path of what not to do and what doesn't work. And,
there's no right or wrong answer to that, but that was a pretty compelling one. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Reminded me of something that if you ever meet my sons and ask them what's the best way to learn, here's what they'll say: make mistakes.
Yeah.
And they'll probably end it with make mistakes, Dad. It's a big thing in our world.
Yeah.
It's important.
It's one of the obstacles and challenges that most people face.
Indeed.
Is being afraid to screw up and learn from it.
Best way to learn.
Yep.
Chad,
100%.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate it.
Really
Man.
appreciate you imparting your knowledge that hopefully will be immediately beneficial to many of the employers out there.
Yeah, fantastic. Appreciate the time.
You bet. And appreciate all of you joining us on another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy. As you heard before, if you need to get in touch with Chad and his team, or you want to share this information with anybody, use the QR code and we'll get you in touch with them directly. Don't keep us a secret. Subscribe, follow, like, and share, particularly with those folks that you know would benefit from this or other episodes. And we will see you here again soon on another episode of the Heartland Franchise Guy.